classroom. That song is still available. My name is Rachel Hutchison. I am the Senior Manager of Online Instructional Design here at the Academy at NHSA, where we bring professional development to life for Head Start by developing exactly what you need to make your classrooms thrive. Today, we are going to talk about thriving even when we are dealing with behaviors that challenge us. We have been diving this year into some skills that help you communicate with compassion with your kiddos, even when their behaviors might make that a little tough to do. And that is by modifying how you respond, especially in those challenging moments, because you can develop a really positive classroom environment, makes both learning and teaching really delightful experience. So last month, we were talking about the importance of mindfulness and its role in helping all of us, adults and children, to feel really balanced and centered as humans. So if you missed that one, no worries. We did record it, so you can go back and catch that on our website. Today is actually our last session for this year. We do this series every year to give you some fresh skills to just try out in your classroom. And we're going to talk about the importance of offering choices and asking questions and finding some unique ways to do that. So just a couple of housekeeping notes before we jump in. Everybody is on mute. You are welcome to put questions in the chat. We answer them as best we can as we go throughout, so please do feel free to do that. This session is also being recorded. The recording and all the resources will be available in a follow-up email we'll send when we're done here. For those of you here today, live, certificates of completion will be made available to you. Those will be sent in a separate follow-up email, so watch for that. Okay, so now it is my pleasure to introduce your experts for the day. We have with us Ron Schwally, the creator of the internationally acclaimed Yogarati and Behavior Mastery Systems. Ron holds a Master's of Education specializing in early childhood. He's an author, he's a speaker, and most importantly, he is really funny. So we're going to have a good time today. And with us also is Dr. Deb Bergeron, known fondly to all of us as Dr. B. She's our Deputy Director of Community Engagement and Innovation and the former Director of the Office of Head Start. Dr. B has also spent a significant amount of time in public education as a classroom teacher, a school administrator, and Ron, you'll have some competition because I happen to know Dr. B is also pretty funny. So this should be a great session today. Everybody bring in that joy for you. So let's jump in, shall we? Today, as I said, we're going to talk about choices and questions. Questions being a favorite in early childhood, right? Because children understand them intrinsically. When they want to learn something, you know, because what are they doing? They are asking questions. So many questions. But our question for you today is, how often do we, as adults, as educators, ask questions of them with the intention of really listening to what they have to say? Is that important? I'm going to turn it over to Dr. B to address this fascinating question. Go for it, Dr. B.
Great to be here. I have no intention of having more energy than Ron on this call. He wins from the get-go. So I'll play the low key card today. Really excited to be with you. This is one of my favorite things that I get to do here at NHSA because I have been in the classroom and I understand the challenge that teachers have. And if our teachers are overwhelmed, just by the energy and the their ability to manage the classroom, we often lose them. And I think making sure that they have the skills they need, and I say they, you, I'm assuming we have teachers on this call, or assistant teachers, or bus drivers, or anybody interacting with kids. We tend to walk away when it gets to the point where we feel like we just don't have the ability to manage it. So that's what Trust First is all about, and that's where the course that I teach, and I pull all these skills from that course. And at the crux of what we talk about in Trust First is that every behavior, if you want to call them challenges, are opportunities for teaching. So if we think of ourselves as teachers and that everything we do is simply teaching, it becomes much more tenable to tackle any kind of challenge that's in front of us. So we get really excited to teach reading, but not all kids master what we teach them right away. And yet somehow we come back to teach them again the next day. So if we can approach behavior If you want to call it behavior management, you can. Classroom climate. I like to just refer to it as developing trust relationships with children. That, and you approach that from a teaching perspective, then everything kind of opens up a little bit, loosens up. It makes it feel a little less stressful. And this notion of asking questions is where it all begins. So I want to dive into this a little bit, but what I'd love for you to do is share in the chat, um, what questions do you typically ask kids throughout the day? And if you're an ed manager, what questions do you see teachers ask? Or, what are the typical, think about your day. What are some of the things that you're asking children? I just put it in the chat. How are you feeling? We do that a lot, don't we? How can I help you? Are you ready to listen? How are you today? We have a lot of good questions here. Something discrete, like what color is this? I'm teaching a fact and I want to know if you understood. Finding out what's wrong if you're feeling they're not in a good place. What is your favorite thing to do? What are we eating during mealtime? What's the color and shape? So using mealtime as an opportunity to teach. I love it. Did we turn our listening ears on? So you have listening ears as a way you talk to your children about listening, and you're asking them about that. What center do you want to go to today? Wow, that's like a question and choice all in one. Way to go, Tammy. So that let's see, all of these can come through and you can look at them. Here's what I want to propose, as this is the trust first kind of skill that we teach, is that if we can think of everything from the framework of a question, instead of stepping into our telling voice, we will catapult children's thinking tremendously. It engages their thinking when we ask a question because it naturally forces them to think of the answer. Whether they want to share it with us or not is a different story. There are all kinds of circumstances, but you're engaging their brains. So if we put this into the context of behavior, what we're saying is, instead of using telling language, if we constantly are using questioning language, we often can get children to correct their own behaviors as they work through their day. And I'm saying behaviors, and when we hear that, sometimes we think that means a negative thing like hitting someone or taking a toy. I don't mean that necessarily. It could just be it's time to go to the carpet, and Mary is sitting in her chair and she doesn't feel like coming. So that could be the situation. The tendency can often be to simply tell the directions. You've already said it's time to go to the carpet, but I'm going to say it again. She's not coming. Perhaps she didn't hear me. And instead we start framing a question. Mary, what is your job today? What is your job right now? And see if she can feedback to you what it is she's supposed to be doing. So as we go through this half hour together, I want you to be thinking about, well, I had you share with me all these great questions that you ask. Now, think about how many times a day you actually use a period statement. So in other words, a statement with a period at the end. How many times a day are you telling? And how many times can that telling turn into a question to create engagement? That's what we want to figure out. So I'm going to stop there, Rachel, because I think we want to shift to Ron.
Well, we will in a second, but questions. So this is really interesting because we were talking about how questions are a really important way to connect with our children and not just tell them things, but actually stop and do some listening ourselves, right? We turn our own listening ears on. But I was wondering if we can talk for a second, and maybe you address this. So tell me if we're ready to shift, we can shift. But using questions and choices when we're facing those behaviors, we'll call them challenging behaviors, but moments where we are getting a little bit stuck with a kid that has decided what they want to do, we have something we need them to do. So if we could just give a little few more like examples on asking
Sure,
questions so people
absolutely,
can kind of see
absolutely.
this.
And I want to frame this by saying everything we teach at Trust First assumes that you're creating a trust-based classroom. So when kids come into a classroom where questions are the driving force and there isn't so much telling, you're retraining their brains too. So this is something you can try tomorrow, and it could fall flat because the environment isn't set up quite yet. But if you're on your way, you very well could find this to be a strategy that works right out of the gate. I saw someone put I think a conscious discipline comment in the chat. If you're using conscious discipline, I kind of feel like conscious discipline has trust at its center too. May not call it out that way, but so you probably are set up nicely to try something like this. And yes, can you do it faster than I can? So that's kind of a challenge question, like trying to distract their attention to see if you need them to clean up, who can get clean up first. For sure, you can play games like that. Those are great. I think when we're talking about the behaviors that challenge us, and you're in the midst of that. So we're talking about my example, like a refusal to do something that you really need a child to do. You're lining up to go inside. You can't leave him out on the playground by himself. You've got to have him in line. And so how are you going to use questions to do that? So after you've given the instruction, you're going to give instructions in a statement way. It's time to line up or whatever. If you have a routine, everyone's lining up and you've got someone who's not ready to line up. So your question can start with ensuring that they know what they're supposed to do, which is, what is your job right now? And see what their answer is. Sometimes they don't know, legit. Sometimes they're going to tell you they don't know just because they want to say, I don't know, but don't give them the answer. So instead, you can say, you're not sure what to do right now. Who would you like to ask for support? Who here can tell you what you're supposed to do? And as you start to have them be responsible for their own behavior, what you're doing is you're training over time for children to listen the first time. And the fact that you are allowing them to own and be responsible and empowered with their own behavior. It becomes less about you controlling the situation and more about setting up a scenario where they can be successful. So that's one example, and you can apply that to any challenging behavior. Someone takes a toy, so you're trying that they took it, you watched that happen, we want to figure this out. So you can use questioning to get to the fact that that toy belongs with the other child. So something like, who was playing with that toy, so that they can recognize whose turn is it to play with the toy, that kind of thing. Or if you're feeling that the other child had it long enough, you could say something like, how could you get that toy from your friend if it's your turn to play for it, play with it, if you've taught them how to ask kindly for things, those kinds of things. The point being, and if you're not used to doing this, try it and watch how difficult this is. See how difficult it is to end your statements with a question mark, because we tend to be tellers in teaching. It's our natural state. We are very smart and we want to impart all of our knowledge on these wonderful people that we are so excited to teach. It's what we do. So it's not a bad thing. It's just hard sometimes to retrain that. So flipping the script and asking questions is a great way to approach just about any behavior. And if you start doing this now, it would be really interesting to notice which children respond most positively to that, because you will have a cohort of kids who will absolutely love this, and that's like a big win. You're going to have some children who challenge you, there's no question, and there are other skills that you can use behind questioning for that. But when you create a classroom that is based on questioning, and that is how you approach things, you're just always asking the children to sort of run their own show. And when you do that, you unlock their energy and their investment in what's happening, and it becomes a very different feel to the classroom all day long, not just in that moment of conflict. Does that help, Rachel?
Running their own show and having a lot of energy kind of makes me think of someone. Who could it be? Ron, any thoughts on where? Oh yeah, I think it was you. That's exactly where my brain went. I happen to know Ron from other interactions, and he has shared with me that possibly at some time in his life he might have been that child in the classroom that challenged educators, and so he's taken what he's learned from personal experience and is ready to share with you best ways to interact. with those children who really like to be at the center of things. So, Ron, why don't you take it away? We'd love some demos from you now.
Okay, so I love what you were saying about the asking questions. So one of the things we do in behavior mastery is called the pre-frame, and the pre-frame is designed not to trigger the child's oppositional wall. Like everybody that's watching right now, from this point on, you're not allowed to raise your hands in the air because I said so and because I'm the teacher. What do you feel inside you right now? And then now you're allowed to put your hands up if you want. And now maybe you don't care. So what we do is a pre-frame, auditory and visual together. So for example, is my favorite color blue or is my favorite color purple? Or what would you say? Right. Is my favorite food Italian food or is my favorite food Ethiopian food? So then you would sense that from the auditory. Is my favorite TV show Young Sheldon or is my favorite TV show America's Got Talent? And I'm shaking my head yes. So these are auditory and visual cues that you give to the kids so their oppositional wall, especially the most challenging ones that love to do the wrong thing on purpose, comes up. So if I want the kids on the rug, part one of behavior mastery is called the pattern interrupt. I don't go Billy, Joey, Susie, 1, 2, 3 eyes on me. What did I tell you? Are you being a good listener? I just go, and then all the kids look at me, or I'll do an accent. I was, oh, and my doggy just barked back nice. You hear how well that works? And okay, I got pattern interrupt works excellent. So thank you. I'll give you $20. So then I pattern interrupt, and all the kids look at me, and then I go, do I want you running around playing with your toys, or do I want you cleaning up for snack? And then the quicker, sharper kids, they take on that. And then 2 seconds later, they're doing it. And I go, I love the way that you're following my directions. Do I want you still playing with your toys or do I want you putting your toys away and going to a center? And they pick on it. And then you get the kids like me, the kids that like any opportunity to say the wrong answer on purpose to a teacher just to get the vein in her head to go. That was me. That's my oppositionalness. So anytime I would watch their face contort, contract, there's over these 200 muscles just in the face alone, that would get me excited. I mean, I would do whatever I possibly could to get Jim Carrey or somebody that would make faces to just constantly be triggered. So what I needed to do was I needed to figure out when I'm working with these kids, I know they're going to challenge me. I know they're going to look for my micro expressions. So how do I make my face completely blank? And that's when I heard about Dr. Paul Ekman's study of micro expressions, where he trains FBI profilers, and I learned about them. So instead of looking at a child and giving the upset look, the disappointed look, the sad look, all that stuff like that, I look at the kids and I go, I love the way that you're helping your friends out. And I look at one of their kids like, do I want you running around or do I want you sitting? And the kid that's standing in front of me about telling me the wrong answer on purpose now gets the power look, because the power look is simple. I don't look at the top of the forehead. I'm sorry, I don't look at the kid's eyes. They're way too cute. I look at the top of the forehead. Right now, I'm not looking at the camera. I'm looking over the camera. And the second thing that I do is I sing, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream in my head. It's silly, but it shuts off that inner dialogue and that voice in my head that's going to go, he's not going to do it. She's not going to pay attention. I don't know if this is going to work. So again, if you want to do part 1, 2, and 3 of behavior mastery all in a row and re-engage all your kids in 20 seconds tops, all you do is an animal noise. You make a silly song. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. The kids do it. They look at you and then you say, do I want you doing this or do I want you doing this? Which is ending it with a question, just like Dr. B said. And then the kids that don't do what you want them to do, if you want them to continue doing the wrong thing, then keep making faces and trigger their micro expressions and the dopamine system. But if you want them to stop, just top of the forehead. And when you go on Head Start's Academy Plus training platform, this is all on there with videos of me working with my kids, showing you how well the techniques work with one of the most challenging kids that reminded me about me, this little kid, Liam, that I absolutely fell in love with. I'm going to put a bubble in my mouth. I don't stop talking. Would you like me to say more?
I actually was gonna I'm gonna give a bonus party favor, Rachel, just
Oh,
because
goody.
Ron is inspiring me. So he said he loved to give the wrong answer just to throw
No,
everybody
I
off.
didn't.
No, you didn't say that. Of
Um
course not.
No, I didn't.
the
Yes, I did.
the
I'm just messing with you. I'm teasing. Okay.
the really good strategy for, and this isn't just for a child who's giving you the wrong answer on purpose. Like if you're doing a check for understanding in, say, a circle time, and you get an answer that's incorrect, a really great strategy, this is like advanced level because it does take practice, is to tell them that that is the answer to a different question. So, what color is the sky? Purple. And you say, oh, no, that's the color of a grape. I asked, what color is the sky? So you're giving them, they get to be correct for something. That is a really finessed way of doing checking for understanding so that everybody's correct all the time. Like nobody gets humiliated because they might guess wrong. And the great thing about that, and this is a totally different skill, sorry to derail choices and questions, but the good thing about creating that environment is it becomes safe to be incorrect, to be officially incorrect. And then kids will participate more, especially children who have a hard time with pulling out facts or remembering what the story said, or for kids who just like to give you the wrong answer because they want to shake things up a little bit. And then you can just make them correct. They get to be correct too. And so that's just a little side comment. And I am getting a question here from Octavia about like, how do I train my teachers on this? So I just to share with everybody, some obviously the really basic things are getting them to do a thing you need them to do is really, what is your job right now? What were the directions I gave you? Where are you supposed to put the paintbrushes? Where does your trash go? That kind of stuff, like just really basic things to elicit the answer. And then you can say something like, you may get started, or yes, or whatever, and encourage that. And 90% of the time, that's really a great remedy. For more difficult things like maybe touching in line, or some kind of breach of physical space, you can ask, and I'm assuming you've taught these things, so some of this relies on a baseline of teaching, and that is, how do we show kind hands in our classroom? What do kind hands look like? As opposed to saying, remember your kind hands. See the difference? Same direction, but one's a question and one's a statement. So if you've got like, make a bubble when you walk through the hallway, you could do just make a bubble. But let's say someone's doing, show me what a bubble looks like. That's a telling. Joe, remind me what a bubble looks like. Can you do that? That's a question. It just inspires a different part of the brain and it engages them differently. It doesn't mean every single time they're going to answer you and fall right in line. You're going to have lots of variations because these are humans, but these are really good skills to implement to create kind of that baseline culture in your classroom where questions are the way you teach behavior as opposed to telling.
So much good stuff, and we never have enough time here. But I also wanted to just lift up, Dr. B mentioned that she does teach a class on our Academy platform. We have this webinar series is available free on our website. And we've got lots of little tidbits, things that you can start playing with, things that you can implement, things that you can just take in and start planting seeds in your classroom of building trust with your kids. But if you really want to go deep with it and you really want to learn how to build that positive classroom environment that is trust-based, highly, highly recommend our classroom management credential that we offer through the Academy. Classes are underway right now, and so spring is full, but fall is open for enrollment. It does tend to fill up pretty fast, so start thinking now about signing up your teachers, or if you are a teacher, start advocating for this. Learning together is always better so that you can work on these skills together as a teaching team. We do have a group rate for this course when you sign up 10 or more. That can be teachers, assistant teachers, ed managers, coaches. We've had cooks, bus drivers, anybody who worked with the kids honestly benefits from this credential. And we want as many people as possible to come and learn from our great experts here on how you can support that positive environment in your classroom and just have so much more joy, both for the kids and for those of you teaching. Teaching is why we get into this, right? It's fun. It's so much fun to share what you know, and the kids love to do it too. So give them that opportunity and give yourselves that opportunity and join us in the fall. Also, If you are coming to our national conference, you'll have opportunities to learn more from Ron Schwally. I hear you're going to be there. Something about being
What?
the captain of a ship. That should be fun.
What? On Thursday morning, which looks like that's like my official spot. I'm always there. Thursday morning at 9 a.m. I'm doing Captain of the Ship, which is a director's or an aspiring director's or really anybody that just wants to have leadership. All different conversations and games and activities on how to engage people. We do partner activities, we show videos, we do sing-alongs, and if you just took some of the stuff that I did from there and introduced into your staff meetings, they would be so much more engaging and so much more fun and exciting. And you wouldn't have that one teacher in the back that's making the faces like I was when I was a little kid.
So, all levels of support for you here from the Academy at NHSA. Dr. B, any parting thoughts? I think we've actually managed to tie things up so nicely and on time. I'm proud of us.
Yes, I'm very excited. I hope you leave with, the party favor is yours to take. So tomorrow your job is to try to ask as many questions as you can when correcting behavior. Just test yourself out and see how you do. Yes, we'll be in Minnesota. We will be, Melissa. I may even be doing a trust first session. So keep your eye on that. I haven't heard back yet from our team, but we appreciate you very much. And this has been a great year for those of you who have joined us for every one of these. We've really enjoyed spending time with you and appreciate all the work you do every day to support our children and our staff.
Okay, we're going to give you guys a couple minutes back because I know how much you need them. And just know that the Academy at NHSA is here to support you. Head Start, you are why we exist. We appreciate you and we appreciate all that you do for the children and families in your community. And we appreciate our experts so much. Thank you so much, Dr. B and Ron, for being with us here today. Everybody have a great one.
Have a great afternoon.
Thanks, everyone.